Okay, a data-driven approach, in my opinion, is probably one of the best ways that you can talk about video games. There are a lot of people who are now, in some regard, upset with the content on the channel and saying that I'm grifting or talking nonsense or whatnot, why none of them are refuting the data or the evidence. So what's happening now is we're seeing a shift. You can't fight the truth, so maybe you try to attempt to keyboard your way through it. It's not going to work. Yesterday, I watched Doug Dark's video where he was saying from console to PC, we're playing old games. He took a data-driven approach, and this kicked off from when he saw his Steam year in review. I know some of you want to see mine, but mine is skewed because I hid Mortal Kombat 1 because I do a Steam family share. My kids are on my Steam, and so it breaks it. It won't show you the games that are hidden. So when you look at it, you're going to see Elden Ring, and then you're not going to see Gotham Knights, of which those are the two games, Mortal Kombat and Gotham Knights, I veg out on. And then when Elden Ring's Shadow of the Erdtree DLC came out. But the main thing here that Doc discovered was that PC gamers are actually not playing a bunch of the new games. The new releases, from his perspective, which he played more new releases compared to Steam gamers, was that Steam gamers were basically grinding out old games. It's that Steam backlog that you build up. Yeah, Doc, you know when you did the backlog challenge, Steam users have been suffering from the backlog challenge for decades. Like, they got backlog so heavy, they have no need to worry about games. I think this data set unveiling this went ahead and debunked one of the biggest arguments that you will see from hyper PlayStation fanboys. From Doc, I'm looking on Twitter and I see Jess Corden an hour ago reporting that only 15% of gaming playtime on Steam this year was spent on games from 2024. Yo, Doc, you put it out a day ago. I don't know, man. Somebody may have seen your video. Maybe somebody else may have not. Maybe Jazz looked at his own Steam, year in review and discovered this. But everyone, rejoice, we're discovering what the heck these PC gamers are doing. This is why when we look at Matt Piscatella's data set and look at the live service games being played on console compared to PC, it's very different. PC players behave differently. This then brings that, claim into question from PlayStation fans. Oh, you're going to be waiting for games into question because ideally the PC player has the convenience, the behavior to actually wait. Why? There are so many games on the market, and these games are looking for people to play them. And we're busy now. We're grown. So the more they make these games each year, the less we have the time to play them. And so when we finally make our way around a brand new game, we're just looking at it going, when am I going to have time to play it? It's not to say that we're not buying it, because if you look at my library, I'll be buying them. But man, there's just too many games and so little time. So what do? I prioritize based on games that I like the most, and I play those games more than often. So you're going to see this trend and this pattern pretty much show up with a lot of video games. And I strongly believe, ladies and gentlemen, that this is the way we ought to be talking about gaming everywhere. The second side to this whole data-driven approach and how it can backfire is when you look at the recent PlayStation 5's technical breakdown, the seminar that Mark Cerny did. He was able to come out there and just talk to engineers from a perspective. I was wondering why my name was getting called on some thread that I had nothing to do with. Apparently, somebody was upset about something and threw my name into the mix and was trying to trash me. Why? Because apparently this whole thing came out and people are dragging PlayStation 5 Pro players. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah, here. Because people are basically now dragging the PlayStation 5 Pro proponents who were yelling at every PC player and hardware, enthusiast that was trying to tell them something. I get dragged into it, and I kept wondering, what's this got to do with me? We already showed Alan Wake, 2, it bodied the PS5 Pro. It was already gonna body it. Let me tell you how I knew the PS5 Pro was gonna get bodied by a 4070. I just went and looked at Final Fantasy 16's performance on PC. Then I backtracked and interpolated, well, they must have developed them with very similar engines or similar techniques. The way that thing was playing was not the same way the PS5 Pro was playing it, or the PS5. So even if the PS5 Pro had an improvement, there was no way it was going to be as improved as the 4070 version, decked with a nice CPU. I already knew that the PS5 Pro, if they did that comparison, was toast. But Mark Cerny never said that this thing was going to do a 4070. This is why he came up with the flopflation. I wonder if somebody actually puts a time tag there on this. Nobody did. Everyone was just basically swooning over Mark. It's crazy. Like, a lot of people like this guy. I mean, I respect him as an engineer, and I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of the stuff that was said in this thing, I could not understand squat. Like, I got to run this stuff through a buddy of mine that's a PhD engineer. I know a guy. This kid is like 21 and he's doing his PhD. Yes, I have freaking Doogie. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I got to run this stuff by him and say, yo, explain this stuff to me. The first time I heard about ray tracing, he was the one who explained it to me. He was like, he's not even a gamer. He was like, oh yeah, it's light particles being I said, thank God I took physics in college. Goodness, because I'd have been lost when he explained it, because he explained it like the mathematical and the physics stuff for me. So looking at this Cerny, spew over here, I'm just looking and going like, what the heck is he talking about? And then he showed a picture for guys like me. I'm a biologist, and a little bit of a chemist. So a lot of technology stuff is a little bit far from my reach. So once I saw the upscaling, I was like, oh, that's what they're talking about. That's exactly what the technology is designed to do. Your hardware is not powerful enough to render a lot of these games at native resolutions that they're advertising for you on the box. So now they're going to take a software upscaler to basically blow it up. It's just kind of like how we do when we're making thumbnails. It's the simplest way that I know how to, basically go ahead and explain it. Those of you who may be YouTubers who are watching this video, is how you make your thumbnails. You pick up a picture and then you scale the picture up in the resolution of the YouTube thumbnail format that you need it to be. It's pretty much what's going on here. However, it's doing it on real-time rendering and graphics, and so requiring a little bit of juice. Even that upscaling requires some of your, hardware's juice as well to be able to get the job done. So a lot of the, folk who are championing and yelling, the PS5 Pro are going to do this, going to do that, you're now basically exposed as having not known what you're talking about. And the people who basically, in a sense, depended on you to be able to maybe carry them through their fantasy are now mad at me. What did I do? You have caused the ruckus everywhere that even Cerny himself had to throw flopflation out there, basically roasting y'all and saying, back away, you're making our brand look bad. Because that's all the conversation had been about. Even Digital Foundry, after Alan Wake 2, they backed away from the 4070 comparisons. I don't know if anybody noticed that. Because it would have been a bloodbath if they put it in every single game. And that would not have boded well. But again, it wasn't fair to PS5 because no one on the PS5 pipeline ever came out and said anything about a 4070. They said up to 45%. Up to 45% means the developers are doing work to cook the game to be able to leverage more than that. I'll give you an example how hardware and software interact. When Gotham Knights came out, I remember playing it on my, on my build with a 6800 XT GPU. I remember back then it was hard for the game to be able to even do 1440, anything more than 90 FPS. Now that GPU put with an AM5 CPU right now, or 5800X 3D, man, it is fantastic. It could do 4K, almost 100 FPS native, no upscaling, nothing, because the developers cooked up their game over time. All the talk about Unreal Engine, it is all about developer, time, technical artists being able to get what they need to be able to make their game run very well. So by and large, we go back to the reason why the data-centric approach to actually talking about video games is the way to go. Shout out to DuckDark1985 for actually taking this data set, looking at it very carefully, understanding what it meant, and being surprised enough that even he himself was behaving the same way and jumping into older games, because when you first jump into PC, you're curious. You're like, I wonder, what is my game going to look? What is my game that I like back in the day going to look like? And so already a lot of these PC players that are just showing up from console, they'll spend some time reveling in their old nostalgia. By then games are already coming out and getting old and getting on sale. Have y'all seen the Steam Christmas sale that just got advertised? Do you hear what I hear? That's the name. That's what they titled it, bro. They were like, do you hear what I hear? Let me show you. Look at it right here. And everything is getting marked down. So people's backlog is about to get stupid again with all these games. And that's just more with after the Black Friday sales and all that. That already did a runaround. I got some racing titles. And so I've been looking on this holiday one, and there's nothing I really want. The only thing I really want, and it's not a need, is Sekiro on PC. I got it on Xbox a few years ago because it was on sale. 2 days later, it went on sale on Steam. I was so upset. I was like, man, I don't play more than 2 hours of it. So I don't know if I want to double dip. The game is not too intriguing to me. I guess I'm just a noob in parrying. I just don't want to learn it. That's all. But everybody is basically, slashing their games back and forth because they want to get these games into your hands. In my humble opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe that if you use the data, you would have no need to come and start trashing people in the comment section. If you're trashing anybody in the comment section after all of the numbers that we have access to today, it just is very sad. Because you don't need to trash in the comment section. You can just go whip up numbers that are available to you, gather them, and just refute somebody's point. Simple. Like even the PlayStation guy did an almost 40-minute thing breaking down all of the different intricacies of the technology. You have the data. Go look at the NVIDIA guy and the AMD guy do the same thing. And if you can figure out how this data set that has been brought up can conquer the RTX or the Radeon stuff on dedicated sides, then you can prove to us that the PlayStation 5 Pro will do better. But if you don't do that to all of these folk, we're not convinced. All you're doing is just spouting empty words that is not going to do anything. No freaking way you're going to come out here and try to, convince us, because you have to now go over this hurdle, and then you got to go, deal with the CPU aspect of the, oh my gosh. Yeah, you got your work cut out for you, man. Tell us what you need. If you need any resources, we'll be happy to send it to you, because you're going to need engineering, books and such to be able to go ahead and basically dissect a lot of these data sets. This is why I said, ladies and gentlemen, when we started this argument with the PS4, the PS5 Pro and the 4070, that a lot of people are going to sound moronic, because what they want to do is they want to leap over years and years of engineering of what's already been standardized and known and draw conclusions based on what they think. Behold, we are here. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.